Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm your host, Veteran Mountain Man, and it's another Spiritual Thursday. And something that we were going to continue talking about is this idea that ancient tribal groups were socialist. One that's commonly always pointed out were the Native Americans because they held land in common. Now, holding land in common is actually not that bizarre of an idea. In fact, here in the United States, when colonization was first being started and small colonies were being set up, most of these little colonies were a couple of hundred people at most, and they usually had what was called a town green. And that town green was kind of a central area in the town where all people who lived in the town could use. And so it was a place in common, or a commons. It didn't mean that they were practicing socialism. It meant that that belonged to everyone. And so everyone had a right to use it. And so the town would set specific rules and guidelines for use, and you'd have to abide by them or be fined. And you couldn't overstep your bounds because then you would harm one of your neighbors by overstepping your rights. Well, this realistically is also discussed by John Locke in his treatises, which discuss the true fundamental liberty of man. He discusses how the earth in and of itself is something that we as humans hold in common, because we are all on this earth, and the earth in and of itself is not something that we can truly possess as an individual sense. So the earth is owned by the human race. And so if you think about it, mostly what we have done at this point is established how to set up boundaries and parameters so that individuals can have a section of that common land. And even our urban dwellers are propagating on that common land, just in a different way. And so the idea that tribal societies were socialist simply because they held their natural resources as a common resource is realistically ludicrous, because even today we hold the earth as a common resource. And we try to find ways to successfully use it in such a manner that it benefits the majority. But we also try to do it so that it doesn't cost in the expense of the minority. If we were to be truly socialist, then it would cost everybody, and it wouldn't necessarily benefit everybody. And so you would have a minority that would pay for it that wouldn't benefit from it, that would become angry over it. And we see this quite often in the United States, especially amongst welfare programs and excessive government spending. But it's basically existed always, in that society has always held some sort of common property, all the way back to the first town, to the first city. These things had communal property, and that property was for everybody to use, and therein lied the most disputes. Well, I want to thank you all again for joining me. Please remember to come out and read everything that gets posted here to unapologeticpagan.com. For those of you who are the pagan spiritualists that are following this podcast. For those of you who are not, I hope you enjoyed the history lesson, even though it wasn't exactly as meaningful for you. Also, please don't forget to come on over to social media and follow, subscribe, or just kind of check in on my channel on a regular basis. And don't forget to upvote, like, or thumbs up, depending upon the platform. Thank you all, and have yourselves a wonderful Thursday.